Flashback 1978. This is the first time I'm going to go to the record store and buy any music. It starts me on a lifetime of collecting. So here I am, I turned 7 years old this year, and we went to the record store. I picked up the 45 of Barry Manilow's Can't Smile Without You, because I'm a cheeseball, always have been. Coming into screen, you'll see my brother. He picked up Players' Baby Come Back, which to this day is one of my all-time favorite drum grooves. Just a fantastic way to start the song, you guys probably know. Coming into screen, you'll see my cousin Tommy. He went with a bit of a throwback, a Motown classic, I Want You Back from the Jackson 5. And then over his shoulder is our oldest cousin, Rico, who picked up Reunited from Peaches and Herb. This is the four of us together with my grandparents at Christmas time.
Surely you've read the title and you know this is going to be about my top 10 favorite albums of all time. Let me preface this by saying this is in no way an indication of all of my musical interests. This barely even scratches the surface, but these are 10 albums that have touched my life in some way. They'll always be special to me. I could listen to them again and again and again. They're the 10 I would want if I was stranded on an island. Oh, if I was stranded on an island alone. So, what I've done today is I have put them all on index cards. I didn't have to show you that. You know what an index card is. I put them all on index cards, and I put them in this coffee can. And I'm just going to shake it up, and I'm going to do this very randomly because there's no way I can put these in order of, 10 to 1. They're all great. I love them all. But now let me show you real quick. You see they're mostly green, and right here in the middle, which won't necessarily be the middle, right here is an orange one. This is a wild card. This is not included in the top 10. This is a bonus record, and this is something totally obscure and maybe a little bizarre. I don't know, but I suspect that a lot of people my age may have something like that fits that bill. And so this one was worth mentioning, so I just went ahead and stuck it in there. Now I'm shuffling them up, not looking, but I am shuffling, and I'm going to stick it back in the can. And in just a second, I'm going to get started. I'll pull one out, and I'll tell you a little about it. We'll proceed that way. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pull one out. We have, Chord and Spark from Joni Mitchell. All right, I put a few notes on the card, so I'll be looking down a little bit, excuse me. That was 1974, and this is one of my family albums. Now, my whole family, we're all big-time music lovers, especially my mom, my sister, I don't have a sister. My mom, my brother, and I, we had a lot of fun when I was growing up. We listened to music all the time. We sang all the time. I believe, I might be biased, but I do believe that my mother has the most beautiful voice that anyone has ever had in the history of the world. And this is one of the family albums that we listened to more than 1,000 times, I suppose, when I was very little. Like I said, this is 1974 this came out, and I was born in 71. So I remember this album played as long as I can remember. A few accolades. So before I tell you about any accolades, you may know some songs from it. You probably know Help Me, if you know Joni Mitchell at all. Help Me was her first and only top 10 Billboard single, and it went #1 on the adult contemporary charts. So there was Help Me, there was Free Man in Paris, which Rolling Stone ranked number 470 of the 500 greatest songs of all time. So that's a pretty big deal. And one of the, what did she call it? She called it an encore. She said it didn't really fit on the album before, and she really liked this song. This is a remake version. But she did Twisted, which is a song about psychoanalysis, basically. And there's there's a cameo from Cheech and Chong in there. So, fun album. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend it, which obviously I can say about all of these. All right, moving on to number 2. Oh, Ronnie Millsap. Love Ronnie Millsap. Love Ronnie Millsap. So there were some country artists that I dug before that. They were more crossover, contemporary type stuff. Clint Black came out in '89. Like I said, this was 1990, and this had the song "Loving Blind" on it. I cannot say enough about this song. This has everything you need in a country song. To me, it has harmonica, it has steel guitar, it has fiddle, it has that voice that just does things. Anyway, Clint Black, put yourself in my shoes. All right, moving on. I wonder how long this is going to take. Okay, here we have one from later in life. This is from 2000, and it's Disturbed with The Sickness. So, this was back in the nu metal stage, rage, whatever. I really don't know how to group songs and group artists. I think nu metal is, I don't know, it was just rock to me. But this was Disturbed's debut album, and it had Stupefy on it, The Sickness, all kinds of cool stuff. This was one, actually, that I played a lot. The kids were very little at the time. I played this a lot, and there was one song on it. I'm going to see if I can put this in the video. There was one song on it that scared my youngest child to death. Just like you could just see the hair stand up, and it just freaked him out a lot. The way the song started. The rest of the song was fine, but the way the song started was a scary thing. So it was super cute, but of course I didn't play it because I didn't want something. But it ends up being that same child, Disturbed, I believe, is his all-time favorite band. He's a big Disturbed fan. So, moving on. Almost looked and I don't want to see because that way I could actually see the orange one. All right, it's another green. Oh, that was two of them. It's another green, and it is, the Manhattan Transfer. This is their self-titled, and it was 1975. It is their sophomore effort. At the time, I would have called them, like I said, I'm not really good at putting labels on music, but I would have called them a vocal jazz quartet. They just had their final tour. I'll say a little more about that in a second. But back in the day, in 1975, their sophomore effort, self-titled Manhattan Transfer, was a record that my brother and mother and I sang over and over and over and over again. Can't get enough of this one still to this day. So I grew up on this one. Also, my kids grew up on this one. And they had their 50th anniversary final tour this last year, and my youngest son and I were fortunate enough to go see them, but it was super cool. I do wish that I could have taken my brother or my mother or my other two kids with me, but, it was still a beautiful thing. We had a great time, and that was an easy pick for the list of the top 10. Moving on. Another green one. We're still in the 70s, or back in the 70s. This is Songs in the Key of Life from Stevie Wonder, 1976. And I feel like I really don't have to say much about this album. This is on everybody's list of greatest albums of all time, with good reason. It's I don't know, it's timeless. I can't say enough. It's Motown. It was good stuff. It had I Wish, Sir Duke. This album spent 13 weeks at number one, 13 consecutive weeks. That was a pretty big deal. And in 2005, it was inducted into the National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress. Again, I don't know what else to say about this one. If you don't know this album, get yourself a copy or listen to it online, but this is classic. It's on everybody's list. For good reason. All right, moving on. Next. Haha. Okay. Grease, 1978. Again, I don't know what I can say about this. This was a great movie. To this day, I will watch it anytime someone says, let's watch Grease. I would have a Grease party. Like, Grease is just the greatest stuff to me. I love Grease. Everybody knows the big hits. Well, I'm not going to name them because apparently I don't know them right now. But, for the record, my favorites were actually Raining on Prom Night, which played when they were in the diner. The time that Danny Zuko was kind of being a creep. Anyway, that played in the diner, so you only heard that for a second. And Freddie My Love, which I don't think played at all in the movie, but played over and over again on the soundtrack at my house. So, Grease. Gotta shake them up because I just accidentally looked in there and saw where the orange tag is, so, okay, another green one. 1995, Shania Twain, The Woman in Me. This had 8 singles with videos. This was number 38 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 200 of the 90s, so out of the whole decade, it made number 38. That's kind of a big deal. And its hits were Any Man of Mine, If You're Not in It for Love, You Win My Love, and No One Needs to Know. But this is one of those that there's no duds on this album at all whatsoever. This I can listen to all the way through 1,000 times over. It's sing-songy stuff for me. And it's also 1995, it was the year of my first child, so kind of a big time in my life. Moving on. Haha, okay. Orange. I didn't even write anything on it because I know what this is about. So, you know what? I actually don't know what year this was, but I know I was little. Okay, when I was really little, my brother and I apparently bought it, or someone bought it for us. I don't know. I think someone must have bought it for us because we were more into buying the hits and stuff. So maybe someone bought us this album, but this was My Name is Roosevelt Franklin, and it was a Sesame Street record of Roosevelt Franklin, and he was, I don't know what to say about this one. This is just so goofy, and it had songs about safety. It had songs about the skin I'm in was about appreciating the skin you're in, and you know, which was, I guess, progressive at the time. I don't know. It was just cute. It taught the days of the week and the months of the year, and it was adorable. Of course, we were kind of smart kids, so we already knew our days of the week and our months of the year. Maybe we were just that old, but we just loved it anyway. It was ridiculous, and we loved it. I am definitely going to put a couple sound clips for you of this one, because it's crazy. Okay, moving on. 19... All right, 2 more. Here we have 1987's In My Tribe from 10,000 Maniacs. And some of you may know of Natalie Merchant, who had a solo career after 10,000 Maniacs. But 10,000 Maniacs they were my jam back in the day. I especially like this album because the drumming guy's name was, see, I didn't look this up, but I did it back in the day, and I believe his name was Jerome Augustiniak. But the drumming was just groove-oriented. It wasn't anything flashy, it wasn't anything difficult, but it just sounded great and fit the tunes. This was ranked by Rolling Stone number 65 on the 100 greatest albums of all time, so I guess I'm not the only one who loved it. I thought it was fantastic, obviously. The song had, it was kind of a social commentary type of thing with a great voice. It was fun to sing. Natalie Merchant's voice is just a lot of fun for me. But it had songs about alcoholism, child abuse, illiteracy, and I just loved it. So there we go. And I think we're moving on to, yeah, it feels like the last one in there. Number 10, or, no number. It's not in order. So, but the last one. And here we have, oh, silly me. Okay, so my all-time favorite band, for anyone who doesn't know, my all-time favorite band, period, is The Cure. I'm not saying they're the greatest band that ever was. I'm saying they are my all-time favorite. They are the ones that got me through my teen angst and all that jazz. They have a little something for every mood. They've got pop. They've got, well, they might not have everything, but they have everything I need. I love them. So picking out a favorite Cure album was a little bit tough, but just like the Clint Black album, it was made a little bit easier for me because my all-time favorite Cure song, which is amazing to say that I have one, but I do, my all-time favorite song from The Cure is Piggy in the Mirror. And this album, the top was gloomy, it was gloom and doom, and I just loved it. I don't know what else to tell you about it. I just loved it. It did have one single on it, which was The Caterpillar. So some people with a little bit of Cure knowledge might know that one, might not. And it reached number 10 on the UK album charts. Not nearly as big a hit as so many of their others, but for me, it's the one that, if I could only have one, this is the one I would have. So, that is my top 10 all-time favorite albums. Of course, they're singles. And there are greatest hits that don't make the list because that's not fair. But I will include at the end here some honorable mentions. And if you're still watching this video, throw a comment down below. Let me know if, number one, if you remember the first record you ever bought. I'd love to know that. I'm super curious about that. And then any favorite albums you might have. So, anyway, there's another video for you in the tube. And I will catch you next time. Aloha.